going to be working through 4 sample problems. Addition and subtraction, property of equality using fractions. Division, property of equality. Multiplication, property of equality. And we're going to be solving equations with fractions. We're going to do one of each section. And as I finish my examples, then you're going to finish the practice section on your own, check, and then move on. So first is our what's called the addition and subtraction property of equality. Remember, property of equality means your goal is to keep the balance between one side and the other. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other to keep the balance. So we're going to do these 3 problems on the top. So keeping the balance. So here on the left, we have x plus 5, 12. Our goal is to get x by itself. So you do what's called the inverse operation, which means the opposite operation of what that is. That's plus 5. We're going to minus 5 both sides. You count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 7. It's positive. For this one, it is 10 minus x equals 3. Now this you could solve in your head. Yes, you know that 10 minus 7 is 3, but you have to be able to solve it algebraically because the numbers are going to get a lot more complicated and you won't be able to do it in your head. So even though you can do this in your head, I'm going to show you how to do it algebraically. Again, you start with by doing the inverse operation, and this 10 technically is positive 10. So the inverse operation is going to be minus 10, minus 10. 3 means I'm up positive 3. Minus 10 means I'm going to go down 10. The question is, where would you be? Of course, going down 10 means I'm below 0, so which means I'm going to be at negative 7. So I got negative x equals negative 7. Probably asking, wait a minute, what do we do with the negative x? Well, remember, sometimes that negative sign is negative, other times it means the opposite of. And in this case, when you have a negative in front of the x, it means the opposite of x is negative 7. So we want the opposite of x. So if we just want x, technically what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive. So that's now going to be positive x and positive 7, which is exactly what we predicted up here. So when the x is negative, whatever it is, you have to multiply both sides by negative 1 so that you get the opposite, because a negative x means the opposite of x. This side, we have negative 15 minus x, negative 21. Minus 15, the inverse operation is going to be adding 15, adding 15. On this side, taking a look here, 0, we're at negative 21, and we go up 15, which means our answer is still negative. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 6. We're at negative 6 here. So I have the opposite of x equals negative 6. You want to find what x is, not the opposite of x. So to do that, you're going to multiply both sides by negative 1. Negative times a negative is a positive x equals negative times a negative, positive 6. It's very easy to check your answer here, is you can always plug it in. So finish these practice problems. Pause the video, finish these problems, check, then restart. Pause the video. Okay, welcome back. For this one, we're going to do what's called the division property of equality. Division. So again, the goal is to keep the balance. So we have 5x equals negative 20, keeping the balance. Negative 12x equals 60, keeping the balance. Negative 13x, negative 39. Goal is to keep the balance. Whenever you have a variable and a number next to each other, it implies multiplication. So the inverse or the undo of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 5. Here I'm dividing by negative 12. And here I divide by negative 13. So here on the left-hand side, this cancels. 5 goes into 20. 5 goes into 20. So you go here and we find the 5 column. We find 20 and we backtrack, and that's going to be 4. It's negative divided by a positive is a negative. So this is x is going to equal negative 4. This cancels. 60 divided by 12. Down here to the 12 column. I go down, find 60. 60 divided by 12, I backtrack. See, it's 5. So x, and this is positive divided by a negative, so our answer is going to be negative 5. This cancels. Negative divided by a negative means our answer is positive. 39 and 13. So I find 13. I go down here, I find 39. Backtrack. And the answer is 3. Positive 3. So using the division property of equality, finish this page. And then get out of your seat and check. Pause the video. Welcome back. Taking a look here. The last page was called the division property of equality. We used division to keep the balance. This page, we use multiplication to keep the balance. This first one is x divided by 5 equals negative 13. This is a division bar, so the opposite or the inverse of division is multiplication. So if we divide by 5, we should be multiplying by 5, technically 5 over 1, because that's the reciprocal. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. This cancels. And we have 5 times 13, so there's 13. There's 5. 5 and 13 is right there. And negative times a positive is a negative 65. Now you can see why we did this very first page where you did a bunch of reciprocals and you found that anytime you want to get a singular one, you multiply by the flip of it. So for example, that one was negative 25 over negative 25, which got you positive 1. And that's what you're trying to do. So when you use the multiplication property of equality, you want to multiply by the reciprocal. So you're going to times and you flip it, negative 4 over 5 times negative 4 over 5. This cancels to a 1. Okay, this negative times a negative, you know it's positive, and now I'm going to prime factor this so you can reduce it. 20, if you look at your prime factor table, that's going to be 4 times 5. And then prime factor, 4 is 2 times 2. Down below, I have a 5. So the 5's cancel. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8, times 2 again is 16. This last one, you can see you have a 3 over 2x, and we have 1 and 1/6. Your first order of business is to change this to an improper fraction. So 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1. This is going to become 7 over 6. Now we're ready to go. You have 3 over 2x equals 7 over 6. We multiply by the reciprocal to make it 1. Multiply by the reciprocal. This cancels to 1, so I have x equals. Now I'm going to prime factor. That is prime. That's prime. That's 2 times 3, and then that's prime. You clean it up here. That cancels. And x equals 7 over 9. Finish this page yourself. Get out of your seat and go check. Pause the video. Welcome back. The last one, we're going to be dealing with adding and subtracting. Equations with fractions. And I'm going to show you how to kiss fractions goodbye. I know you're loving this. MOOC students just adore fractions. And I'm going to show you a shortcut that allows you to kiss those fractions goodbye-bye. Okay, and there's 3 steps to it. First step is to make everything a fraction. That's your first step, is to make everything a fraction. Technically an improper fraction, not a mixed number. So the first step to kiss fractions goodbye is to make sure everything is a fraction. Step 2, you're going to find your lowest common denominator. So you look at the denominators and you find your tiny home. Last, you go arrow in, arrow out, and you get everything into and integers. It's positive and negative numbers, whole numbers. And then you solve. I'm going to do 2 problems with you following those steps. Okay, so take a look here. We have the variable s, negative 1 over 2, negative 8 over 9. First, you make everything a fraction. You change mixed numbers into an improper fraction. This s, I'm going to put over 1. Why? Because I want it to be a fraction. Now you find your tiny home of 1, 2, and 9. What is the smallest number that both 2 and 9 go into? And that's going to be 18. All you have to do is where'd it go? Did I erase it? Okay, we'll grab this here, put it back so you have it as reference. I can show you in a simple way here. Okay, so one of the quicker ways to find the LCD is you go down the 9 column and you look down the 2 column and you find the smallest number possible that both of them go into. So I go down the 2 column and you see there's 18. I go down the 9 column, 18. And you can see, especially since our next multiplication is 9, that 18 is going to be the tiny home that both 2 and 9 go into. Now we do arrow in, arrow out. 1 goes into 18 times. So arrow out, you're going to have 18s. Watch your, technically we are subtracting here. Arrow in, 2 goes into 18 9 times. 9 times 1 is negative 9. Notice I'm only taking the numerators. Last one, 9 goes into 18 twice. 2 times 18, and that's going to be negative 16. All the fractions went bye-bye. This is called an equivalent equation. It's the same equation, just with nothing but integers. Now we are going to solve. Our goal is to get s by itself. This 18 next to s is the last thing that goes. We're going to follow PEMDAS, but when you go over an equal sign, you actually go backwards. So we do addition and subtraction first. The opposite of negative 9 is we're going to add 9. And that's basically 16 minus 9. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 7. That's going to be negative 7. The inverse operation, now we do multiplication division. The inverse operation of multiplication is division. So your final answer here is going to be S equals negative 7 over 18. Ta-da! You're done. Let's try another one. I know this looks really strange. So we're going to follow this same steps. Number one is we make everything a fraction. So that P is going to go over 1. That's a fraction. That's a fraction. So check. And then I have 10 and 8. So now you find your tiny home. What is the smallest number that both 8 and 10 go into? Again, you're looking for the smallest number that both 8 and 10 go into. So I look at 8 column, I look at the 10 column, and I'm looking for the smallest number possible that they both go into. So I look at 10 and I'm looking for a number that's also in the 8 column. The smallest number that they have in common. And that is going to be 40. You can see that right here. So my tiny home is going to be 40. There we go, tiny home. Now we do arrow in, arrow out. 1 goes into 40, 40 times. So I end up with 40p. We're only taking the numerators here. We're creating what's called an equivalent equation with nothing but integers. We're kissing those fractions goodbye. 10 goes into 44 times. Bring it around. You do 4 times 3. That's going to be negative 12. 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Now, when we're crossing an equal sign, simplifying stuff, you go PEMDAS, but you go backwards when you're crossing an equal sign. So we do addition and subtraction first. So negative 12, we're going to add 12. 5 plus 2, that's 7, 37. And you do multiplication and division going this way. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So P is going to equal 37 over 40. This page you do on your own and check. And remember the 3 steps are: make everything a fraction, find your tiny home, your LCD, and do arrow in, arrow out. This, when you finish, will be your sign-off page for extra credit. And then these 2 pages are your homework pages.